a little while since I picked up the camera and took you guys along with me here on the homestead. A lot has gone down since the last video. We have been through the heat of the summer, and during that time we have transitioned some animals in, we have transitioned some animals out, we have grown lots of things in the garden, lots of preserving, but you know, just picking up the camera and taking along in those busy seasons is just, it's hard to do. Maybe one day I'll get a little bit better at it, but I thought I would pick it back up again today and share with you guys where we are and what we're looking forward to in this next season of the year. And also because it is a big day, though we have transitioned some animals off the homestead lately, one that we are moving out today that really hurts my feelings and I will be very sad to see go. Our sheep are moving to a new farm. So if you guys have been hanging around our channel for a while, you know how excited I was to get our sheep back at the beginning of this year and all the plans that I had for them. And unfortunately, after a hard summer, we experienced a lot of drought here in eastern North Carolina, which really bumped up the parasite load that a lot of livestock came in contact with. And even though we were rotationally grazing around our field and being really careful to have the sheep on new ground every single week, we were hit really hard with the parasites. Our goal of raising animals here on our homestead is to raise super clean, great quality meat for our family. And that means very little medical intervention, if any at all. We really don't want to be administering chemical dewormers and vaccinations and all of those kinds of things. Otherwise, we could just buy our meat at the grocery store along with everybody else, and you know, that would be that. But that's not our goal. Here on our homestead, we really want to raise sustainable meat that has been raised as holistically and as natural as possible. But with that being said, this herd of sheep that we brought here at the beginning of the year, my goal was to really try to eventually create more of a parasite resistant herd, as well as more grass fed, that kind of thing. And I knew it was going to take a while, it would be a process, but after a hard summer we ended up losing a couple of our sheep. I don't think it's fair to this herd of sheep to try to manipulate their genes and the way that they were bred and kept before they came here, at risk of losing some of them. So we're going to let them go to another farm and continue our search for more grass-fed, parasite-resistant lines of sheep that are already established and doing fairly well in our climate and that kind of thing. So there is somebody locally who has a farm that does like an open petting zoo type thing on the weekends, and he's interested in taking the whole flock all together. So that does make me super happy because they are very close, they're a family, and so I love to see them all go together. And I know that he's going to take great care of this flock. They have become my babies. I love every single one of them, and I'm really sad to see them go. I'm probably going to cry big ugly tears when they leave. But they're just great. I love sheep. I love their personalities, and they've been some of my favorite animals here on the homestead. So I don't plan on being without sheep for very long. Do you mind? You getting your slobber on the camera, you stinker. I don't plan on being without sheep for very long because they... Biscuit, do you mind? You stinker. I'm trying to talk here. I'm trying to talk here. Can you back up? Scooch out the way. Sheep have been such a joy for me, but you know, as a homestead, we're doing this to provide for our family, and so I can't rightfully keep, you know, 7 sheep pets out here because they are very expensive to upkeep. between their grain and their hay and everything in between, and especially if we have to do chemical dewormers and stuff. If you've ever bought chemical dewormers, you know how expensive they are. So it's just, you know, it's not very cost effective for us to keep sheep that we don't plan on eating or breeding, and, you know, certainly not milking and transferring those things to our family. So I'm excited to see them go and be, you know, loved on. That's really the best case scenario for them. They're a great herd, and so I'm gonna miss them. You're fogging up the camera. Definitely a bittersweet day here. The good thing is the farm they're going to is only 6 minutes away from here, which is such a blessing. And like I said, they open up on the weekends for the community to come in and see the animals and that kind of thing. So we can really go and visit these guys whenever we want to see them. So that makes my heart happy. So we've been rotating them in this electric net fence all through the pasture. Let's see if you can see behind the gardens, way back in there. So this was their original sheep pen. You guys can go back and watch the videos of when we put this up. And then we decided that we didn't want to keep them in a stationary area because of the parasite load and that kind of thing. So we started rotating them in two of the, this is actually the hog net by Premier One. It stays nice and hot, and the sheep don't mess with it, and we haven't had any issues with predators with it either. So they've just been kind of rotating around. They're here right next to their pen, and I've set up this little like holding cell right here inside of the gate, so that this afternoon I can lure them into this little chute here with their feed bucket, and then close them in this gate here, and that way I can get my hands on them, because even though they do love me, you know, in stressful situations, they're sheep and they are prey animals, so their prey drive kicks in and they want to get away from you as quick as they can. So having them in close proximity as best as I can is really ideal for getting my hands on them and helping to load them on the man's trailer whenever he gets here. So we all know that on election years, you know, things get kind of crazy as far as, you know, inflation and just scarcity in the grocery stores and that kind of thing. So we're trying to be more diligent with the animals that we're keeping here on the homestead, because not only, you know, are we taking up space and time and energy with these animals, but we're also shelling out lots of money as far as feed goes. And so we just want to make sure that whatever we are investing in is a good investment, that it's going to have the right return of what we're looking for. You know, we've made some hard cuts this summer. Our breeder pigs, you know, Judy and Tiny, I know that I had mentioned in videos past that, you know, they were kind of up on the chopping block if they didn't breed, and we gave them all the time that we felt was fair, and unfortunately they never bred, and so they ended up going off to the butcher at the beginning of the summer. So we were really sad to see them go too. You know, you get attached to these animals that are your breeders and your kind of resident livestock, you know, but there comes a time when you have to make that decision that, you know, this is not serving my family and me like what we had planned on. You just kind of make moves towards what those goals look like, and sometimes that means, you know, moving animals to a different farm, or go ahead and consuming those animals, or and the same goes for, you know, crops, you know, in the garden and those kinds of things. But since our sheep are leaving today, you know, livestock are kind of the forefront of my attention today. We have downsized our rabbitry to just 2 does and 2 bucks, and we are contemplating if we are even going to breed them this fall winter season, because our freezer is still pretty full with rabbit. It might not be a terrible idea because, you know, we're already seeing some of the grocery store challenges here in our area. Actually, just recently I went to order some chicken from a local grocery store. The only reason I'm doing that is because Robert has started a meal plan with a personal trainer, and it is a very strict meal plan, very calculated, and it requires a ton of chicken every day. And even though we grow our own chicken, we have not been able to grow enough chicken to keep up with the consumption that he has had lately, so I had to break down and buy some grocery store chicken lately. Anyways, one of the grocery stores that I tried to order from was completely out of chicken. Had none at all, any kind. So that kind of set off a red flag for us to go ahead and start making some preparations, stocking those freezers, having some things on standby. And so, you know, we're contemplating on the rabbits for this upcoming season, but we did go ahead and invest in some meat birds with some friends that we plan to stock our freezer with in a few short weeks. Not a huge fan of grocery store chicken. Just something about it, you know, kind of turns me off. I guess it's because I've had real homegrown farm-raised chicken to compare it to, and there's just really no comparison. So we invested in some American breast chickens here on our farm a couple of years ago, and we have successfully hatched and grown out several batches of those to put in our freezer over the past couple of years. But because of the kind of urgent press that I felt not being able to find any chicken, a couple of family friends of ours decided to go in on a big order of some Cornish cross, which are, you know, specifically meat birds, so that we could go ahead and fill our freezer and not have to worry about that. We will still be hatching out some American breasts and kind of keeping them in rotation. Cornish cross are not my favorite breed of chicken, meat bird. And it's really because they were specifically bred to go from egg to butcher weight by 7 or 9 weeks. So you can imagine how fast these birds grow and how much weight they're putting on, and the amount of food they go through and the amount of poop that comes out of them. So they can be very messy and smelly. And two, you know, when I think of chickens, I think of our chickens that are out on the land just happy pecking, running around, you know, catching bugs, that kind of thing. These guys get so big so fast that they literally just kind of sit on their bottom all day. That's what they were bred to do, you know. And so, you know, there's a place and a purpose for these birds. They're not our favorite, but with the urgency of needing to put some chicken on our table in a quick amount of time, these were the ones that we decided to go with, and I'm very thankful. These are very healthy and lively birds. We got them from Stump House Farm in Anderson, South Carolina. They have a website. You can shop their different birds there, and they will ship all over the connected United States. And they all arrived in great health condition and have really been thriving and doing well. So I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, their end result here for our farm. So a pretty cool thing that Robert and I have decided to offer for our church family is a class on kind of beginner homesteading. Our church does groups by semesters, and so we're going into the fall semester, and you know, the Lord had been talking to me about turning what we do into a ministry. And you know, there's been some posts on Instagram and Facebook and even some of my YouTube videos where I've kind of touched on a few different things that the Lord's put on my heart. But just with us going into such an uncharted season here in our country and in the world, I just felt really led to kind of hand these platforms over to him and just have him do what he wants to do with them. Still using them to educate people on the, you know, self-sufficiency, God-reliant self-sufficiency through homesteading and, you know, gardening and hunting and all of these kinds of things. So once the opportunity came up to open up groups for the fall, you know, I felt like it was the time for Robert and I to really stand up for our church community and offer a class for those who wanted to learn, you know, what the Word says about this kind of lifestyle and stewarding the land, and, you know, the hands-on application of being able to do it and kind of integrating them together. So I'm excited to see the fruit that will bear from these classes, and from kind of shifting the direction of our channel and our social media platforms. When we honor the Lord first, the rest will be added, right? And so that's what we're here to do. These ducks like to hang out under Robert's tractor there in the lean-to. They poop all over everything. I've enjoyed having ducks this go around here on this property versus when we had them at our previous property, because they can free range, they can go all over the property, and so they just make less of a mess until they found the lean-to and the tractor, and now there's just duck poop everywhere. So lots of changes on the homestead since we last picked up the camera. Some of them a little bit sad, and you know, unfortunately that is part of homesteading. It's you have wins and you have losses, and no matter what, you learn from those. So they're always lessons, and so that's what we try to view everything as going forward. And I feel like every time we move forward, you know, we go forward stronger. We've had more experience, and we have more confidence making decisions, and that's what you do. You know, you learn and you grow. I just wanted to pick the camera up real quick and kind of fill you guys in on some of the things that have happened and where we are, where we're going. I really hope that now that things are slowing down a little bit in the season, that I'll be able to pick the camera up a little bit more often and bring you guys along to continue sharing our journey. During our little break that we've had, we did hit over 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube, which is amazing. So thank you guys so much for your support. If you are watching this video and have not subscribed already, we do appreciate you doing so and sharing with your friends and family. I look forward to what's ahead for all of us. For now, I need to hop off and start working on some chores around here, getting that shop cleaned up for our class this weekend, and getting our sheep's hooves trimmed and ready for them to transport this evening. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.